Well, we are following some breaking news tonight at 6 as a judge has now ordered Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis to pay more than $54,000 for violating the Open Records Act. Zach Merchant with our 11 Alive political team broke the story. And Zach, you just got a copy of that court order. What have you learned here?
We did. We just got a hold of this Fulton County Superior Court order just in the last roughly 15 to 20 minutes. In it, Judge Rachel Krause rules that DA Fani Willis violated the State Open Records Act by failing to turn over documents requested by defense attorney Ashleigh Merchant. The judge wrote that the defendants, the Fulton County DA's office, were openly hostile to Merchant and failed to handle her requests in good faith. Merchant had sought a copy of confidentiality agreements signed by DA's office employees, as well as a list of attorneys hired by DA Willis. Judge Krause today gave the district attorney 30 days to pay Merchant $54,000 in attorney's fees and to turn over those requested files. Spokespeople for the DA's office did not immediately return requests for comment.
Well, it's been a while since Fani Willis has been in the mainstream media, and you know why? Ever since she was disqualified from the Trump case, the lamestream media has done everything they can to distance themselves from her and Fulton County. Think about it. You don't hear anything about Fani Willis, about Nathan Wade, her lover and former employee at all, because she let the team down. See, their game plan was to have Trump boxed in. Attorney General Letitia James. Then you had Jack Smith. Then you had Fani Willis. Then you had Alvin Bragg. They tried to box him in, and one by one, he was knocking them down, right? Beating them up. Letitia James was one that was able to get him in a civil suit, which is in the Court of Appeals, and Alvin Bragg on that ledger issue where they've been able to use their 34 felony count thing. But what's really been going on is underneath the surface, things have been going terrible for Fani Willis. And as you just heard, Ashleigh Merchant, who's the dynamic lady who was representing a defendant in the Trump case. And through their digging, they were able to establish and find out that she's the one that broke the whole Fani Willis and Nathan Wade relationship. Well, throughout that, there were several requests for information and documents that she made to Fani Willis, which got rejected, got ignored, and it went to court. And guess what? Ashleigh Merchant won. And as you heard, Fani Willis's office was forced to pay Ashleigh Merchant's office over $50,000 within 30 days. So it wasn't one of those, well, she wins and then nobody ever gets paid. It was within 30 days. And that was just the beginning of the end. So remember, Fani was tossed off the Trump case, embarrassed, right? Then her whole entire position as Attorney General was threatened. She ended up winning the election. The people of Fulton County reelected this woman, but things were still going on because Congress was requesting documents. See, allegedly, there's correspondence that shows that Fani Willis may have been meeting and speaking with the Biden White House. And allegedly, she even met with Vice President Kamala Harris on multiple occasions, just like Nathan Wade. Nathan Wade even had an invoice that he billed out like 24 hours or a few hours. I believe it was 24, but I could be incorrect on that. But I do know it was billed out directly for a meeting at the White House. Now, why would a assistant prosecuting attorney on a Trump case of Fulton County be meeting with the Biden White House for anything? And this was all prior to charges even being brought. So check out, now that she got thrown off, she refused and rejected Congress's request for information. And the Georgia Senate had been requesting documentation, the Georgia Republican-led Senate, and she ignored them all. But she took another loss. Check out what happened with her. But let me give you a little bit of this article, and then I'll roll it to the next video. And then wait till you hear the latest L that Fani just took. So hang in there with me. I'm going to get to these video clips, but this says right here, Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis has been ordered to pay more than $54,000 in attorney's fees for violating Georgia's Open Records Act, according to court documents. The dispute centers around the failure of Fani Willis's office to provide records requested by defense attorney Ashleigh Merchant, who represents Michael Roman, a former campaign and White House aide to President Trump. Roman was indicted alongside Trump in the Georgia election interference case, which was brought by Willis in 2023 and currently remains in limbo. All right, so the rest of that just kind of reiterates what I was telling you about what happened. We know that it was all a conspiracy, them going after Trump, but check out what's happening with the Georgia Senate and how they just took it to Fani.
The special state Senate panel investigating Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis says she could be jailed if she keeps ignoring their subpoenas.
Now, they demanded her to testify in September, but Willis has yet to respond. Atlanta News First political reporter Doug Reardon is at the state capitol.
And it's not as if they just asked her nicely. This Senate panel issued subpoenas and even got a judge's ruling saying that they had the power to compel Willis to testify. Still, she has not shown up to any of these hearings. As a reminder, this investigation started over a year ago when it was discovered that Willis was romantically involved with Nathan Wade, the top prosecutor on the Donald Trump election indictment here in Fulton County. This panel of mostly Republican state senators has been trying to haul her in for testimony ever since then, but Willis has cited scheduling issues. The panel said they're running out of patience and told me today they may seek a contempt charge that could come with jail time.
She is not above the law. And I think that there are legal processes to force her to comply. And yes, that does include confinements, but the judge can issue an order to confine her. Yeah, you can be confined in jail as a punishment for contempt if you willingly snub your nose at a court's order.
We did get a reply back from the Fulton County DA's office. They said, quote, the district attorney and special committee have not reached an agreement to testify, and the district attorney continues to challenge the witness subpoena in court. Willis, however, did agree to turn over some documents that the special committee had been asking for. They said they want to have her come in to testify in the last week in April or the first 2 weeks in May. They said if she doesn't show up then, they will ask that judge for that contempt charge. At the state capitol, Doug Reardon, Atlanta News First.
If you're enjoying this video, do me a solid, hit that thumbs up, because I'll never ask you for a cash app or a super chat, but you hitting that like button really does help. It helps spread the information out. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. On the Real Politics Podcast, that's all we do is talk real politics. So once you subscribe, hit that notification bell and select all. And that way you'll be notified when I upload new videos. Well, they end up moving full steam ahead on that, because not only did they keep going at her, they even took it one step further than that. They enacted a law, because you know what the Democrats' favorite slogan is whenever they're coming after Republicans and conservatives is no one's above the law. No one's above the law until it's a Democrat. Remember, Joe Biden was saying no one's above the law unless it was Hunter Biden. Then he pardons him. So he was above the law. No one's above the law until it's a Democrat. Letitia James. Now, you know, oh, it's weaponization. Fani Willis, the same way. Oh, she was saying that nobody was above the law, even the president. Exactly. Not even the DA. And so what they were using was these legal loopholes where she wasn't necessarily breaking the law, but she also wasn't following it. But it would have had to have been a judge order in order for anything to really happen. Well, the Georgia Senate, they went in and they changed the whole thing. Check this out. And now this has compelled Fani, where now she has to appear. She is forced to testify. There is nowhere to run, nowhere to hide anymore. And now everything is going to come off. The lid is about to break, because she holds secrets to the correspondence between her office and the White House prior to any charges being brought against President Trump. And remember, everyone brought their charges at the same time in 2023 of alleged violations and law-breaking actions that happened supposedly or allegedly back in 2020 or 2019, 2020. So they've all waited 3 years with the coordinated attack to box him in. He beat them all like Rocky, and now here we are. So new law breathes life into Georgia Senate panel probe of Fulton DA Willis and Stacey Abrams. This now forces Stacey Abrams too. See, the Democrats, they open up cans of worms that ends up coming around and ends up eating them alive. Never fails. A new Georgia law clarifies the power of legislative committees to issue subpoenas following a legal battle between Republican state senators and Democratic Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis. The signing of Senate Bill 255 by Governor Kemp on Wednesday enacted a law that defines the power of state legislative committees to compel witnesses to testify and provide evidence. Kemp issued an unusual signing statement warning state lawmakers to use the new law with discretion. The statement says that the law provides clear procedures for issuing subpoenas rather than creating new responsibilities for the General Assembly. Kemp urged lawmakers to proceed with caution when using the tool for investigations. The General Assembly has a well-earned reputation for putting the business of legislating and the people of Georgia first, Kemp wrote. Americans of all political leanings have lamented the ineffectiveness of the United States Congress, in no small part due to the abundance of politically motivated investigations, which only generate sound bites and distract from important legislation. Athens Senator Bill Cowsert introduced the bill this year as a response to a prolonged legal battle as Willis refused to appear before a special committee he chairs investigating Willis for potential financial and ethical violations related to the Fulton County 2020 election interference investigation. Republican supporters of the new law claim that it does not expand current legislative powers, but rather explains how committees are able to legally exercise their subpoena powers. Democratic lawmakers opposed the bill, citing the possibility that investigative legislative committees would misuse their subpoena powers against perceived political opponents, such as elected officials and public advocacy groups. Under the new law, any dispute over the enforcement of the state lawmaker's subpoena would be resolved by a local superior court. The Senate Special Committee on Investigations case is at a standstill, awaiting a final court order to determine whether Willis will be required to testify. The committee is also requesting that Willis turn over a trove of documents and other evidence as of their investigation. Willis came under fire last year when she admitted to a romantic relationship with the special prosecutor she hired to lead the sweeping felony election interference case following former President Joe Biden's 2020 election victory over Republican Donald Trump. The Fulton district attorney was disqualified last year due to prosecutorial misconduct allegations involving her romantic relationship with Nathan Wade. The special prosecutor who brought the case against Trump and 18 of his allies accused of illegally trying to overturn Georgia's election results. Cowsert Senate Special Committee on Investigations is expected to expand its list of targets this year as it opens a probe into the relationship between Stacey Abrams and New Georgia Project, following a January 15th settlement in a 2019 case alleging illegal campaign contributions to Abrams' 2018 Democratic gubernatorial campaign. Cowsert, a lawyer, launched his campaign to become Georgia's next attorney general this spring by proclaiming his fearless commitment to law and order, which included leading investigations into allegations of unethical conduct by Willis and financial improprieties between Abrams-related groups. DA Fani Willis, New York AG Letitia James, and other partisan prosecutors have undermined public confidence in the fairness of our criminal justice system, Cowsert said. Their abuse of power is a threat to the rule of law, and it's time to put an end to the weaponization of our justice system. So as you heard, they laid name to Fani Willis and Letitia James. So, it's a wrap for these folks. So there you have it. That's what's going on with Fani Willis. Like I say, it's been a while since the mainstream, or should I say the lamestream media, has put her out there, but there's a lot that's been happening under the surface. And after months and months of her stonewalling and lying, now they've even passed legislation. They created a law that forces her to have to turn over all the evidence and forces her to have to testify in front of the Senate and answer the questions that we all want to know. Why were you meeting with the White House? Why was Nathan Wade meeting with the White House? What were we all talking about? What did they share with you? Because all of these meetings took place prior to the charges being brought against President Trump. And then that might even indicate allegedly even a coordinated attack, which we all know what it is. The Four Corners box in, we know it. But there may be actual hard evidence where there already is. Nathan Wade had the documentation proving that he met with the White House. He even billed out hours for it. So why would a Fulton County special prosecutor, assistant special prosecutor, be meeting with the White House and allegedly Kamala Harris's team? But that's what was going on. And so Fani Willis, you know what? I'm glad what's going on with her. I'm happy what's happening to Letitia James. These folks all thought they were above the law. After saying that, and coming against President Trump, now the tables have turned. And they're begging the public for donations to help with their legal fund when they cheered and laughed, when they thought that they was about to break and just in jail and imprison President Trump. Well, the joke's on you, left-wing extremists. It backfired and the American people woke up. And I'm glad we did. So if you stayed in and you watched this video this far, I really do appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. Apologize for the reading part. I know it might have been a little bit long, but that's what we got. That's the good news. They actually passed legislation to support the fact that she has to testify. She has to turn over evidence. And there definitely is evidence documenting her correspondence with the White House that is going to explode and blow the roof off of the whole thing, this entire coordinated attack to bring down Trump and his administration. And I'm there for it. I know you here for it. And the mainstream media is going to do everything they can to cover it up. But you and I are going to do everything we can to keep exposing it. So thank you for being here and watching. If you haven't already, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel. If you aren't subscribed, leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Most importantly, I want you to be safe and you stay great. I'm Brian Maxwell saying I look forward to seeing you at the top. Over and out, y'all.